Hi, today I want to talk about listening. I talked about the three pillars of acting last week: listening, imaginary circumstances, and action. And all of these three things are seemingly simple at first glance, but the more you study them, the more you put these things into practice, the more you find that it takes a lifetime of discovery. So, we're going to take each of these three pillars and discuss them over the next couple of weeks. So today we're going to talk about the first one: listening, being present, really being in the moment, responsive, spontaneous, letting yourself respond to what's happening right here, right now. You listen with all of your senses. You listen to your scene partner, you listen to the world around you, the environment around you. So, what does it mean to listen? So, at first glance, you might think, well, that sounds pretty easy. I listen all the time. That's just something that's not very difficult. That's pretty straightforward. But upon further reflection, I think you'll find as you explore acting more and more, listening is actually one of the most difficult things to do. Really listening, deep, active, present listening, letting yourself be spontaneous and present in the moment is a challenge that lasts a lifetime to master. How do you be present? Well, we do a number of different exercises in acting classes to exercise this muscle. We might do a mirroring exercise where people are standing across from each other and mirroring movements very, very slowly so that they can really read what the other person is doing and respond to it and copy it exactly. And that electricity that's created in really putting your feelers out and really listening through your eyes, through your senses, really taking in the other person is a focus, an exercise of where you're placing your focus and how specifically you can work. We also do a machine exercise where an ensemble will create a machine using different gestures and sounds, and the whole ensemble will come together and kind of fit into the whole. There's Meisner work where partners will do repetition exercises where it'll sort of be mindless repetition back and forth where you are observing elements of behavior in the other person and you're just calling it out as you see it. And then your partner repeats it and you repeat back and forth and back and forth. So there's no thinking involved. It's just present, moment to moment, listening to your scene partner and responding. And there's many more. There's jumping all at the same time. An ensemble stands and jumps all at the same time without cueing. There's viewpoints exercises. There's an array of different exercises to strengthen your ability to focus. And some of these exercises might seem a little silly at first glance. It might seem like the kind of thing that this mirroring exercise in machines is the kind of thing that you might do with children. You might roll your eyes a little bit and say, well, I want to be a serious actor. I want to go to a serious drama school. I'm in a serious studio or conservatory. Why am I doing these childish exercises? Well, there really is nothing but the basics in acting. And deep present listening is a difficult tool to develop that takes a lifetime, as I said, and these exercises are really good at looking at that very simple element. So don't be fooled by the simplicity of it. It's actually, there's a lot to it. Now, listening is difficult for a couple of different reasons, the type of listening that I'm talking about. One is that as an actor, you know what's going to happen. You've read the script, you've rehearsed, even if you're doing film and you haven't had 6 weeks of rehearsal, you have done this scene a number of times. Maybe you had a couple of rehearsals and now you're on take 5 and you know what's going to happen. You know how the other person's going to respond. You know what you're going to do. You know what you're going to say. You know what the next line is after you finish this line. You already know. So how do you listen right now, present, as if you don't know? How do you let yourself really respond and be here now in this moment? That's really tricky. And listening is also tricky for another reason. We don't really listen in our lives. deeply. A lot of times we're engaged in a million different things and we're not really present in our lives. We're talking to somebody, yeah, but we're thinking about what's going to come next, or we're thinking about that thing that happened to us yesterday or on our way to work. We're watching a video, but we're sort of half watching it, half thinking about this thing while we're writing an email, while we're doing homework. So we're sort of taking our focus and separating it, and technology doesn't help with that, right? There's like a million things going on. We have our phone, we have our laptop, we have our iPad, we have music playing, we have all sorts of things going on, and our focus is scattershot all over the place. So really being engaged with your scene partner, really being engaged with the person that you're talking to, even if you're not acting, if you're just living your life, having a conversation, to really deeply be having that conversation and gauging what the other person is saying to you, how they're saying it, what their behavior, what's their energy, and letting yourself respond to that without getting in your head about it, without kind of thinking, "Ooh, I'm listening right now," is really challenging. So, how do you exercise this muscle? How do you exercise this muscle of being able to place your focus somewhere and and deeply be in the moment and present? Well, we'll talk a little bit about action and objective, and we'll talk about circumstance in later weeks, because if you're not listening, you're not really playing an action. If you're doing something to your scene partner, if you're trying to get your scene partner, I talked about shaming your scene partner or mocking your scene partner. If you're in the moment and your character is shaming this other character, and so you're really trying to shame your scene partner and you're doing a scene with them, you're not really doing it if you're not gauging their behavior, seeing if you did it or not, gauging whether they feel what you want them to feel, behave the way you want them to behave in the moment. Little behavioral tick after little behavioral tick, responding to it without getting in your head about it. If you're not listening, if you're not right there, present, then you're not really playing an action. If you're not responding to the circumstances around you, where you are, where you came from, where you expect to be going, what your relationship is, all these details, all these elements of the imaginary circumstances, if you're not really kind of absorbing them and taking them in, how they affect the moment to moment behavioral active life of the scene, the play, the film, if you're not right there letting yourself be affected, taking it in, listening to these elements, then you're not really invested in the circumstances. So listening runs through everything that you do as an actor. Being present runs through everything that you do. It is of the utmost importance. So how can we work on this when we're by ourselves? It's difficult, because one of the key elements to acting is person to person communication and engagement. You don't want your focus to be on yourself. The second you put your focus on yourself in your head, noticing what you're thinking, noticing what you're doing with your hands, paying attention to how you're saying the lines, listening to yourself. What am I feeling? Am I feeling what I'm supposed to be feeling? Oh, I'm supposed to be crying the next line. The second you start to pay attention to what you're doing and sort of puppeteer yourself and indicate what you're supposed to be doing, you're out of the moment. You're not really there in the moment. You are just looking at yourself as a performer. And unless you're doing some sort of meta theatrical character where you're sort of aware of yourself and you're sort of not, unless you're doing some like stylized thing like that, then you're not really in the moment. So we don't want to put our focus on ourselves when we're on stage. We don't want to put our focus on ourselves when we're in front of the camera. We don't want to be self-aware. So how can we exercise this focus when we're by ourselves? One thing that you can do is sensory work. Sensory work, and I have that on our daily actor workout playlist on our YouTube channel. You can check out a couple of those videos on sensory work. Sensory work will help your ability to put your focus on something else and really just pay attention to this thing, whatever it is. Drinking a cup of coffee, you are out in the sun, you're taking a shower, whatever it is, you are putting your focus on something outside of yourself and keeping it there. And so that's one very good exercise. But for our purposes right now, we're going to do a couple of different exercises. And the first one is going to do the exact opposite of what I just said is a danger to actors. I'm going to ask that you do put your focus on yourself, but with the caveat that this is just an exercise. This is just an exercise to work out our ability to place our focus somewhere. So you can place your focus on yourself for this exercise, and then we're going to place our focus outside of ourselves. And we're going to work that muscle of our ability to place our focus where we need to. Konstantin Stanislavski, who I talked about a little bit last week, called this communion. He has a whole chapter on communion. What are you in communication with? What are you in communion with? And there are different circles. You might be in communion with something happening right in this sort of sphere around you. You might be in communion with you and your scene partner. You might be in communion with the room that you're in. You might be in communion with that table over there. There are different circles. There are different spheres of awareness that you're listening to, you're responding to. And so for right now, we're just going to put our focus on ourselves. So if you can close your eyes, if you're in a place where you can close your eyes, then go ahead and just close your eyes. If closing your eyes isn't, if it's not comfortable, if your mind wanders, if you're going to fall asleep, then just keep your eyes open, but find a soft focus. Sort of take your eyes off the screen and just find a soft focus where you take in all the visual information in your field of vision. You just take everything in, and you don't sort of laser focus, look at any one thing, and then look at something else, and look at something else. You don't want to dart your focus around looking at that thing, then looking at that thing. That's where we start to get into a wandering focus all over the place. You want to find a soft focus where nothing is important. Everything's just sort of coming in. This soft focus where you're not really looking at any one thing, or just close your eyes. And feel the breath just come into your body and leave your body. Just taking your focus and putting it on your breath. Now you might find that your mind wants to wander. You might find thoughts come into your head and leave and want to take you and distract you. When that happens, not if, but when that happens, don't beat yourself up. Don't say, this meditation thing is not for me, this guided meditation thing. I've tried it before. This mindfulness thing, or I just can't. This isn't. Don't beat yourself up. Don't start to panic that this is just not, you're not the type of person who can do this sort of thing. Just say, okay, my mind's wandering. That happens to everybody. The greatest actors in the world stand on stage in front of the camera, and their mind wanders sometimes. That's fine. Just let the thought come in, and then just be aware of it, let it go, and bring it back to your breath. If you make a big deal about it, or if you let yourself go down that rabbit hole and you start to just get lost in your thoughts, then just remind yourself, oh yeah, bring it back to the breath. And sooner or later, you're going to find your ability to just keep bringing it back to the task at hand strengthens your ability to just bring that focus back to the task at hand. And right now, it's just something as simple as your breath. Breath falls in, breath falls out. How effortlessly can you let the breath fall in and fall out? And start to look for that impulse for breath. Where is that little thing in the center of your body when you don't breathe that says, hey, I need some air right now? What's that little twinge? Make sure you feel that before you breathe. And then you don't hold the breath at the top, you just let it fall out. And then you wait for that next impulse for breath. That little, okay, let's breathe. So breathing becomes involuntary. You don't have to do anything to breathe. It just becomes, you feel the impulse, and breath is released. And you let the breath out, you wait for the breath. Breath comes in, breath falls out. It's the impulse. When we start to think about and put our focus on our breath, sometimes we manipulate it. We start to breathe, we start to effort the breath. Don't do that. Just listen to your body. When do you want to breathe? Let yourself breathe. Let it out. Now move your focus to your feet and see if you can let go of any tension in your feet. So now your breath is coming in and going out. You're paying attention to your breath and you're paying attention to letting go of your feet. And let the breath fall all the way down to your feet. So imagine that your breath is an active participant in relaxing your body. Your eyes are closed or you have a soft focus. And bring your breath down to your legs. And let it out. Your breath relaxes your legs, lets any tension out through your legs. And you're listening for that impulse for breath. Where's that impulse for breath? And you breathe and you let it fall out. Moving up your body, relaxing, paying attention to any tension, paying attention to any tension that you don't need, just letting it go. Up to your abdomen, lower back, and the middle of your back, your chest, shoulders. Impulse for breath. Let it in, and then just let it out. And then let your hands go. Let your arms and shoulders go. And then impulse for breath. Let your neck, throat, your face, your jaw, your lips, cheeks, whole body. Now just pay attention to the breath and any tension that might creep into your body. Just pay attention to that. And anytime your focus goes off, anytime you have a little thought that makes you, yeah, I got to do that thing later, or, oh man, I can't believe that thing happened. Anytime you have a little thought that creeps its way in, don't beat yourself up. Don't go down the rabbit hole of like, oh yeah, that's an interesting thought. Let me think about that. Yeah, oh yeah. Don't engage with it any more than is necessary. Don't beat yourself up. Oh, I'm not that kind of person. I just can't do this kind of thing. Just notice it. Oh, there's a thought floated in my head. And just breathe in and bring your focus back to noticing your breath, that impulse for breath, and any tension that creeps in. And just keep paying attention. And as the actor, you should be doing this. I mean, this is a healthy practice for anybody, just to breathe, relax, and focus, and just pay attention. Notice what's happening. This is something you should be doing every day. Now I want you to focus on what you're feeling right now. What are you feeling in the center of your body? What are you feeling in that place where you feel butterflies in your stomach, where you feel your heart drop, where you feel fear, when you feel anxiety, that place in the center of your body, where you feel your deepest feelings? What are you feeling there right now? Put your focus there. Maybe you're feeling a sort of numbness. Maybe it's a fuzziness. Maybe it's something I don't know what is it exactly. Just put your focus there and breathe into it. Just pay attention to it. Whatever it is. If it's nothing, then just pay attention to the void. What is it? And just keep your focus there. Every time it trails off, think, okay, it trailed off. Let's bring it back. My breath. What am I feeling? Oh, there's some tension. Let me let it go. What are you feeling? Moment to moment to moment. And it'll change. A little tension will want to creep in. A thought will pop in. And maybe that thought will bring a feeling with it. Maybe you think of your mom, your dad, your grandmother, your grandfather, your dog. You think of something and go, oh, right, I got it. And you just start to feel things associated with those images. Well, that's fine. That's great. Your imaginary life, your internal life of your thoughts and your consciousness are connected to what you feel. That's what we want as the actor. But right now, the task at hand is just paying attention to the breath and what you're feeling and bringing your focus back to your body. So let those thoughts happen and then let them go and bring it back to the breath. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? What can you let go of in your body? What's going on with your breath, that impulse for breath? So now, if you can, I want you to find a space in your home or around you or outside your home, wherever you can walk around a little bit. And I want you to open your eyes, take your focus off from this soft focus, and I want you to start to make your way around your room or around going on some walk somewhere. And I want you to start to take your focus off of yourself, okay? So this meditation, this guided meditation, this relaxation exercise of putting your focus on yourself, that satisfied its purpose for now of exercising the focus, but now as the actor, we know we don't want to stay there too long, right? Every day meditating for some time, meditating for 10, 15, 20 minutes, half hour, an hour, that's fine, that's great, that's healthy. But you don't want to stay in that place of like paying attention to yourself and really looking at what am I feeling right now? Because if you're doing that on stage in front of the camera, if you're so consumed with, oh, I'm not feeling the thing, then you're not really present. We want to exercise your ability to put the feelers out, all right? So now I want you to just walk around your room or wherever you are, and I want you to just walk and try to find an awareness or find a point of view as you're walking, a point of view that is totally naive. This is all new to you. You've never seen this room before. Now, immediately, there's going to be a red flag that goes up when I say that. You're going to say, well, that's a lie. That's not the truth. I have seen this place before. And that's true. But Stanislavski calls it the magic if. If I say to you, if you have never seen this before, how might you walk through this space? What would that be like? What would that feel like? So try to put yourself in that brain space. Try to put yourself in that focus of you're walking through this space and you're just seeing things as if you've never seen them before. Now, this is very important. I don't want you to act like you've never seen this before. I don't want you to indicate that. So nobody's watching you. This is not a performance. This is not for you to mime. Where did I don't want any big acting schmacting. You don't need to like project to the camera or to the audience that I've never been here before. We don't care about that. This isn't about you projecting anything. It's just about you finding a consciousness, finding an awareness that comes from a simple, naive, innocent discovery point of view. Discover everything around you with all of your senses. So see it. See the objects in your room. What are they? What are the shapes of them? Breathe. Relax. Just make your way through the space and look at everything around your room, around where you are, and just take it in. The lines, the colors, as if you've never seen it before, as if this is the first time You're really exploring. And maybe it is. Maybe it is the first time you've really looked at the pattern on those pillows. Maybe it's the first time you've really noticed the way the sunlight hits at this time of day, or the lighting, or the shape, or the interplay of lines, or how the floorboards are cracked in just that sort of way. Really just put your focus on these simple things and discover them. See them through this new, fresh lens. And move through each sense. Feel these things. Feel the fuzziness, the smoothness, the roughness of these textures. And discover everything around you through touch, through sight. What about sounds? How many sounds do you hear? And again, try to hear through a naive, innocent, awakened point of view. What is that sound? What's that sound? Sound by sound, touch by touch, sight by sight. If there's something around to taste or smell. Each of the senses, explore your environment and just take a little walk and try to exercise that ability to put your feelers out outside of yourself and see everything and feel everything and experience everything from a place of discovery, and and just notice how you respond moment to moment to moment. So next week we'll talk a little bit about circumstance and how you can introduce this idea of listening in the world of exploring the given circumstances and the imaginary circumstances of a play. So there are more videos on the Daily Actor Workout playlist on our Bristol Theater Program YouTube channel. And there's a lot more to discover. There's a lot more exercises and acting tools to discover on YouTube and on the internet. So I invite you to go and just continue to search. But continue this practice of paying attention, breathing, exercising your focus. Where do you put your focus? And exercise your ability to, yes, be able to notice what's happening inside of yourself, but more importantly, the ability to place your focus outside of you and be responsive to that moment to moment to moment. So that's all for this week. I will see all of you next week. Thank you.